which she has titled US&A for Effective Communication. Sophie Ngugi, US&A for Effective Communication. US&A for Effective Communication, Sophie Ngugi.
With COVID-19, there has been an outburst of online meetings, like what we are having, Zoom calls, and the common phrase of, "Can you hear me?" It has become quite common. Have you had that experience of late? When you're saying something, but the reaction means you are not communicating. That was me back in 2013. I was in South Sudan, and my domestic worker, Beth, kept making this clicking sound every time I gave her instructions. How rude. But what made it even more confusing was that her facial expression was polite. So I decided to actually buy time as I looked for an alternative because I cannot tolerate rudeness. But shortly, I noted the same attitude among other South Sudanese staff. And that was when I had an aha moment. She was not being rude. That was her way of nodding in agreement. Toastmasters and guests, our everyday life, whether in professional or personal life, we are always communicating, verbally and non-verbally. Let me rephrase. We are attempting to communicate. Sometimes, like it was the case with Beth, there is a breakdown in communication. This could be due to different factors, for example, language, culture, and personal attributes. In addition, we all have our own different styles of communication. The Toastmasters International classifies communication styles into 4, which I'll use the acronym SEAD: supportive, initiating, analytical, or direct. The test revealed my most dominant communication style to be supportive. To be a more effective communicator, I am therefore challenging myself to remember this acronym that I will use as the US&A of effective communication: understand, synchronize, and adapt. Understand your communication style and that of others. Synchronize both verbal and nonverbal communication, and adapt to the circumstances. First, understanding your communication style and that of others. By understanding my own communication style, this helps me to assess how I relate with different people. For example, my supportive communication style is most effective in a situation that is relaxed. It actually drives in looking for creation of relationships, but it does not thrive when there is conflict. Understanding other people's communication style also helps in how we communicate and understanding the different cultures that may affect the communication. For example, in the case of Beth, I misinterpreted to be rude because that is how my culture interprets that, but that was not how her culture interprets it. The fact that I do not have direct communication style, that does not come automatically for me. I did not seek for clarification from her. So I need to understand my style, how I communicate, and also the style and other factors on how other people communicate. Second, S, synchronize. Synchronizing, according to the website kayaconnect.org, Kaya connect.org, in a free online course that is called Improving Your Communication by Adapting to Others. Synchronizing is described as harmonizing your own style in a way that you reduce the differences between you and the other person. For example, I tend to speak very fast, but if I'm speaking with somebody who tends to speak quite slowly, I will synchronize by reducing my pace. You can synchronize either verbally or non-verbally, tone of variation that you have, hand gestures, leaning forward in a way that helps to reduce the differences. This is not copying what somebody is doing, but really being intentional in how you synchronize for you to reduce the differences that you have with this person. And thirdly, adapt. One of my main takeaways from this Toastmasters project is that what I consider as the normal way of communication is actually my preferred style of communication. Sometimes I need to adapt my style of communication. For example, in a case of conflict, the case of birth, I needed to adapt my communication style because we had a conflict, we were not understanding each other. My supportive communication style was not effective then. Toastmasters and guests, communication is very critical to our everyday life. It can be a great source of conflict also when there is communication breakdown. Imagine the shock that would have been on Beth's face if I fired her because she was being rude. Incidentally, I employed her and she worked for me for the whole period that I was in South Sudan. And she was quite polite and a good person to work with. Imagine the conflict it would have caused. So one of the main aims of our Toastmasters journey is to improve our communication skills. So how better than to use this very simple acronym: understand, synchronize, and adapt. And this will help you to be a more effective communicator, and this could save you a lot of heartache and build relationships. Madam Toastmaster.